Welcome to Wednesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news: escalation in the Middle East is rising as the US is increasingly desperate to extract itself. Through all this, it is adding more troops as Iran widens the attacks. It looks grim. But first up today, we should note that the overnight dairy pulse auction delivered slightly lower prices across the four commodities offered, all down about 3% in US dollar terms, marginally less in New Zealand dollars. In the US, while everything else is in flux, there is widening concern about private credit cockroaches. We first noted the issues with blue owl funds, but it seems many more of these opaque funds have severe valuation issues. Funds managed by some very big names have been limiting withdrawals, and investors clamour to exit their exposure. A list of troublesome funds includes those managed by Goldman Sachs, JPMorgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, Blackrock, Apollo, Ares and Blackstone. There are others, of course. Limiting or stopping redemptions on funds that have dodgy valuations is a terrible signal. And staying in the US, the weekly ADP pulse data delivered little change from the prior week, a minimal 10,000 job increase. And the Richmond Fed's regional factory survey reported an improvement in their region in March, built on better order levels, an easier ability to pass on price increases, and lower cost pressures. Despite all that, things are still net negative there. However, their services sector is no longer negative, although it isn't positive either. In Canada, small business sentiment took a hit in March, but it is still net positive. There were many early March PMIs out overnight, and the one for the US was weaker, with weakened output growth and sharply higher prices following the outbreak of war in the Middle East. This survey is now at an 11-month low. In Europe, this same survey shows Eurozone output growth slowed as input cost inflation hits its highest level in over 3 years. India is reporting higher inflation and lower growth. Japan is reporting a slowdown in March too. And Australia reported a sudden contraction, their first in 18 months. In all PMIs released so far, the factory sectors seem less negative than the services sectors, where the impacts are more immediate. And Taiwan reported a more modest, for them, increase in industrial production in February, up 18% from a year ago. They also said their retail sales jumped an outside 7.7% in February from a year ago, ending a long run of modest improvements for them. And we should note that the sharp restriction on sulfur exports from the Middle East is really juicing up the price of this commodity, essential for phosphate fertilizer production, competing with mining demand for the remaining limited supply. Sulfur prices are now 40% higher than at the start of 2026 and 27% higher than the pandemic peak, which was their prior record high. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.41%, up 7 basis points from yesterday at this time. And the price of gold will start today up $38 from yesterday at $4,424 an ounce. Silver is up 50 cents at $69.50 an ounce. American oil prices are up $3 on just on $92.50 a barrel, while the international Brent price is now just on $104 a barrel. And it'll be no surprise to learn that jet fuel prices are leaping globally. And the Kiwi dollar is softer against the US dollar from yesterday, down 30 basis points at 58.2 US cents. Against the Aussie, we're unchanged at 83.5 Australian cents. We're down 40 basis points against the yen. Against the euro, we're 30 basis points lower at just under 50.2 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today down 30 basis points at just on 61.9. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $69,569 and down 1.4% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been modest, though, at just over plus or minus 1.5%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.